Have you ever stopped to watch a snake move? It's honestly one of the most incredible sights in the natural world. There are no arms, no legs, no fins to push against the water. Yet, a snake glides across the ground with a grace that is almost magical. It flows like a river, silent and powerful. But this amazing ability isn't magic, though. It's actually the result of millions of years of evolution. Snakes are living proof that nature is the ultimate inventor. They show us that sometimes losing something can lead to gaining something far more powerful. Their story is a journey of transformation, turning what seems like a disadvantage into a superpower that has allowed them to conquer nearly every habitat on our planet. This journey began a very long time ago, over 100 million years in the past. The world was a different place then, filled with giant dinosaurs. In that ancient world, the ancestors of today's snakes looked very different. They weren't the sleek, legless creatures we know. They were more like lizards, with 4 fully formed legs they used to scuttle across the forest floor. Imagine that for a moment. A snake with legs, running and climbing just like a gecko. These ancient animals were the pioneers, the first chapter in a remarkable story of adaptation. They faced a world of challenges, and to survive, they had to change in a very big way. The world they lived in was full of predators and competition. To find food and avoid being eaten, these early snakes needed a new strategy. Many scientists believe they started to burrow, digging into the soft earth and leaf litter to hide and hunt. In these tight underground tunnels, legs were not very helpful. In fact, they often got in the way, snagging on roots and slowing them down. A smoother, more streamlined body was much better for life underground. This was the moment when evolution began its incredible work, starting a slow but steady process of change that would redefine what it means to be a snake. Over countless generations, nature began to select for snakes with smaller and smaller legs. The individuals with shorter limbs were better at burrowing. They could move more easily through the soil, catch more food, and escape from danger more effectively. This gave them a better chance to survive and have babies, passing on their genes for smaller legs to the next generation. It was a slow, gradual fading of limbs, a masterpiece of natural selection painted over millions of years. The snake was being sculpted by its environment, letting go of its past to embrace a new and more successful future as a master of movement, all without a single leg to stand on. The idea of a snake with legs might sound like something from a myth, but it is real science. We have found the fossils to prove it. One of the most amazing discoveries was a fossil named Tetrapodophis amplectus, which means 4-footed snake. This creature lived about 120 million years ago in what is now Brazil. It was small, but its fossil skeleton clearly shows 4 tiny legs, complete with little ankles, feet and toes. These legs were too small for walking. Scientists think they might have been used for grasping onto things, perhaps for holding onto a partner during mating or for gripping prey. This incredible fossil is a snapshot from the past, a perfect link between the lizard-like ancestors and the snakes we see today. Tetrapodophis is not alone. Other fossils, like Najash rionegrina from Argentina, also show that early snakes had hind legs. Najash was a burrower, and its powerful back legs might have helped it push through the dirt. These fossils are like clues in a great detective story. They help us piece together the puzzle of snake evolution. They tell us that the loss of legs was not a single event that happened overnight. It was a long and complicated process. Different snake groups lost their legs at different times and for different reasons. It was an evolutionary experiment that happened again and again, proving how successful this new body plan was. Even today we can see echoes of this 4-legged past in modern snakes. Some of the more ancient snake families, like pythons and boas, still have tiny remnants of their hind legs. If you look closely near the tail of a big python, you might see 2 small claws, or spurs, on either side of its body. These are the last visible traces of the powerful legs their ancestors once had. These spurs are no longer used for walking, but male pythons still use them during courtship to hold on to the female. It is a direct link to their ancient history, a small reminder of the long journey they have taken. This evidence, from incredible fossils to the tiny spurs on a living python, paints a clear picture. Snakes came from four-limbed ancestors. Their transition to a legless form was driven by the need to survive in new environments, especially by burrowing underground or moving through water. Losing their legs was not an accident. It was a deliberate and highly successful evolutionary strategy. It opened up a whole new world of possibilities, allowing them to move and hunt in ways that no lizard could ever manage. The snake was on its way to becoming a true master of its environment, all by letting go of the very things we think are essential for movement. The story of how snakes lost their legs is not just found in fossils, it is also written in their DNA. Our DNA is like an instruction manual that tells our bodies how to grow. For animals with limbs, there are specific parts of this manual, certain genes, that are responsible for building legs. Scientists have discovered that in snakes, these instructions have been changed. One of the most important genes for limb development is called the sonic hedgehog gene. It sounds kind of funny, but it plays a crucial role in telling an embryo where to grow its arms and legs. In snakes, this gene is still there, but the areas around it that act like on and off switches have been broken. Imagine you have a light switch on the wall. The switch itself works perfectly, but the wiring connecting it to the light bulb has been cut. That is what happened in snakes. The sonic hedgehog gene is the light bulb, but the genetic switches that should turn it on in the places where legs would grow have been disabled. So, during the development of a baby snake, the signal to build legs never gets sent. This is why snakes are born without them. It's a fascinating look at how evolution can work at the deepest level, by simply tweaking the instructions in the genetic code to create a completely new and revolutionary body design. This genetic discovery helps explain why we see leg remnants in some snakes, like pythons. In these ancient snakes, the genetic switches for limb growth are not completely broken, just damaged. The signal to build legs is very weak, so they only develop tiny partial limbs, those pelvic spurs we talked about. In more modern snakes like vipers and cobras, those genetic switches have been completely lost. This shows that the loss of legs was a gradual process, not just physically, but genetically too. It happened in stages, with the genetic instructions slowly fading away over millions of years until they were gone completely. What is truly mind-blowing is that this genetic trick did not just happen once. Scientists believe that different groups of snakes lost their legs independently of each other. This means that evolution came up with the same brilliant solution multiple times. It is a concept called convergent evolution, where different species develop similar traits to solve similar problems. Both burrowing snakes and ancient marine snakes found that being legless was a huge advantage, so nature used the same genetic toolkit to remove their limbs and turn them into sleek, efficient hunters. It shows just how powerful and effective the legless body plan truly is. So if snakes have no legs, how on earth do they move? The secret lies in an incredible combination of a super flexible spine, powerful muscles, and special belly scales. A snake's backbone is completely different from ours. We have about 33 vertebrae, but a snake can have over 400. This gives its body amazing flexibility, allowing it to bend and curve in almost any direction. It is like a long chain, with each link able to move independently. This spine is the central pillar around which the snake's entire system of movement is built, providing the structure for its unique and powerful locomotion. Attached to this long, flexible spine is a complex network of muscles. These are not just any muscles, they are short, strong, and intricately connected. They run from the ribs to the skin, linking the vertebrae and allowing the snake to have precise control over every single part of its body. When a snake wants to move, it does not just flop around. It fires these muscles in a coordinated wave, creating curves and pushing itself forward. It is like an orchestra where every musician plays their part in perfect harmony. This muscular system is the engine that drives a snake forward, providing the power for its silent and deadly glide. The final piece of this puzzle is the skin, specifically the large rectangular scales on a snake's belly, called scutes. These scutes are not smooth like the scales on its back. They are wide and tough, and their back edge is slightly raised. This design is brilliant. The scales can grip onto tiny bumps and rough spots on the ground, a bit like the tread on a tire. As the snake's muscles push its body forward, these scales provide the friction needed to prevent it from slipping backwards. Each scute acts like a tiny foot, catching the ground and propelling the snake along its path with surprising efficiency. Together, the flexible spine, the powerful muscles, and the gripping belly scales create a system of movement that is incredibly versatile. It allows snakes to do much more than just slither on flat ground. They can climb trees, swim through water, burrow into sand, and even squeeze through the tightest of spaces. This whole-body approach to movement is what makes them so successful. They did not just lose their legs, they evolved a completely new and arguably more advanced way of getting around. Their body is a single, perfect machine, built for motion in a world that most other animals would find impossible to navigate. Snakes have not just one way of moving, but a whole repertoire of different techniques, like a dancer who knows many styles. The most common one, the one we all think of, is called lateral undulation. This is the classic S-shaped slither. The snake pushes off a series of anchor points like rocks, twigs, or even just rough patches of ground. It sends waves of muscular contraction down its body, pushing sideways against these points to propel itself forward. This is an incredibly efficient way to move, and you will see it used by snakes in almost any environment, from garden snakes in your backyard to giant anacondas swimming through the Amazon River. For moving in a straight line, especially for big, heavy-bodied snakes like pythons and vipers, there is another method called rectilinear movement. This looks like the snake is gliding forward without any side-to-side bending at all. It is a much slower and stealthier movement. The snake uses its powerful muscles to lift sections of its belly scales, pull them forward, and then place them down again. It is like moving on a series of tiny, invisible conveyor belts. This is the perfect technique for stalking prey, as it allows the snake to inch forward slowly and silently without making any sudden movements that might give away its position. What if a snake finds itself in a tight space, like a narrow tunnel or burrow? For this, it uses concertina movement. The snake bunches up the front part of its body, anchoring it against the walls of the tunnel. Then it pulls the back part of its body forward, like an accordion or a concertina. Once the back is in place, it pushes the front part of its body forward into the next section of the tunnel. It is a slow but very effective way to navigate confined spaces, and it is essential for the many snake species that live and hunt underground, showing their adaptability to even the most restrictive environments. Finally, there is one of the most spectacular forms of snake movement, reserved for the shifting sands of the desert, sidewinding. A sidewinder rattlesnake moves in a way that seems to defy logic. It throws its body forward in loops, moving sideways across the sand. The incredible thing is that only 2 small sections of its body touch the hot sand at any one time. This minimizes contact with the scorching surface and allows the snake to move quickly and efficiently over loose, unstable ground where a normal slither would just dig in. This specialized dance is a perfect example of how snakes have evolved specific movements to master the toughest environments on Earth. The incredible adaptability of snakes is proven by their presence in nearly every corner of our planet. In the dense, tangled jungles of the Amazon or Southeast Asia, their legless form is a huge advantage. A tree boa or a green mamba can wrap its body around branches, distributing its weight perfectly to stay balanced. They can stretch across impossible gaps between trees, forming a living bridge to reach new hunting grounds. Their muscles and scales allow them to grip onto bark, climbing vertically up tree trunks in a way that a 4-legged lizard never could. In the 3-dimensional world of the rainforest canopy, being a long, flexible tube is far better than being restricted by limbs. Now, let's travel from the wet jungle to the hottest, driest deserts in the world, like the Sahara or the Namib. Here the challenges are completely different, scorching heat and loose, shifting sand. This is where sidewinding comes into its own. As we saw, it allows snakes like the sidewinder rattlesnake or the Peringues adder to glide across the sand with minimal effort and minimal contact with the hot ground. Many desert snakes are also master burrowers. The sandfish skink of the Sahara, which is actually a lizard that has also lost its legs, can swim through the sand, and snakes like the sand boa do the same, using their streamlined bodies to disappear beneath the surface to escape the heat or ambush prey. Their mastery does not end on land. Many snakes have taken to the water, becoming incredibly skilled swimmers. The giant anaconda of South America spends most of its life in and around rivers, using lateral undulation to propel its huge body through the water with power and grace. But the true kings of the marine world are the sea snakes. These creatures are fully adapted to life in the ocean, with flattened, paddle-like tails that act like rudders and fins. They can hold their breath for hours and have special glands to get rid of excess salt. Their legless body is perfectly streamlined for an aquatic life, allowing them to hunt fish among the coral reefs with deadly efficiency. From the highest treetops to the deepest sands and the open ocean, snakes have used their unique body plan to thrive. They show us that there is no single best way to be designed. What works in one environment might not work in another. The loss of legs, which we might see as a limitation, gave snakes the freedom to evolve new ways of moving that are perfectly suited to their surroundings. They are the ultimate survivors, having colonized a breathtaking range of habitats across the globe. Their success is a powerful testament to the endless creativity of evolution and the power of adaptation. The story of the snake is more than just a fascinating piece of natural history. It holds powerful lessons for us all. It teaches us about resilience and the art of turning a perceived weakness into an incredible strength. Snakes lost their legs, but they did not become helpless. Instead, they evolved a new system of movement that was even more versatile and successful than what they had before. This is a brilliant metaphor for our own lives. We all face challenges and setbacks, moments where we feel like we have lost something important. The snake shows us that these moments can be opportunities for growth and innovation if we are willing to adapt. This principle of adaptation is not just for personal inspiration, it is a driving force in science and technology. Engineers and roboticists are looking directly at snakes to design the next generation of robots. Think about a disaster zone, like a collapsed building after an earthquake. A normal wheeled or legged robot would get stuck in the rubble, but a snake-like robot, using concertina or lateral undulation movements, could weave its way through tiny gaps and unstable debris to find survivors. Scientists are building these snake bots right now, copying the snake's muscles and flexible spine to create machines that can go where no other robot can. The snake's movement is also inspiring new ideas in medicine. Researchers are studying how snakes control their hundreds of muscles with such precision to better understand how our own nervous system works. This could lead to new treatments for spinal cord injuries or new types of prosthetic limbs that are more intuitive and responsive. By studying the snake's genetic code, we are learning how major evolutionary changes can happen. This helps us understand our own evolution and the genetic basis for many human diseases. Nature, through the snake, is providing a blueprint for solving some of our most complex problems. So, the next time you see a snake, I hope you see it differently. Don't see it as a strange or scary creature, but as a symbol of evolutionary genius. See it as a master of adaptation, a survivor, and an innovator. Snakes teach us that letting go of the old can open the door to a new and powerful future. They challenge us to look at our own limitations and ask, how can I turn this into my greatest advantage? They are living, breathing examples of nature's power to overcome any obstacle. We should look upon them with wonder and respect, for they are one of nature's greatest success stories.